Hi guys, Q264 here, and today we're going to be talking about Jordan Peele's new Twilight Zone. This is the third reboot of the Twilight Zone. How does this stack up? We're going to be looking at the episode The Comedian. Hope you guys are ready for the truth.
Oh, geek.
True. 64.
Geek. Truth.
Geek.
True. 64. Oh, shit.
Hi guys, as you can tell, I'm not on my normal set. I am still converted on my green screen set. I do utilize the same equipment, and it's currently set up for the green screen because I just did a Twilight Zone top 10 episode last weekend, and I have not reset everything. I'm too lazy to reset it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to this episode of Twilight Zone. I am a huge fan of the original Rod Serling classic Twilight Zone. It is in my favorite shows of all time. Great writing makes most of those stories timeless tales with examinations of the human condition. There was a reboot in the mid-'80s which failed to live up to the original. Then there was one in 2002. Another reboot, Forrest Whitaker narrated that, but it didn't last long. It wasn't really all that good. But now in 2019, we got another stab at Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele narrating. Jordan Peele has built some credibility with Twilight Zone type stories with both Get Out and Us in the theaters. But no matter what he does, I'll always think of him on Key and Peele. I really expected him to tell a joke when he did show up in this. Key and Peele is a great show. If you've not seen Key and Peele, I highly recommend you check out Key and Peele. But let's go ahead and get into this particular episode, The Comedian. You can watch this for free on YouTube, so no need to sign up for your 15th subscription service just to check out this one episode. I do recommend seeing it. It's free. There's really no reason why not to check it out. The Comedian stars Kumail. I'm gonna butcher your name. I know him from Silicon Valley. He plays an aspiring comedian. I say aspiring because this dude is not funny at all. I think you're supposed to feel sorry for him because he isn't funny, but mostly I just feel sad for the people in the audience. I really have no idea how this dude has a standing gig at this comedy house. He has to be working for drinks or peanuts or something, because there's no way this dude's actually getting paid for the job that he's doing. His primary joke happens to be about the Second Amendment and gun control. Not only is this a political joke, which will have your eyes roll, but it isn't even remotely funny, and that's a running gag, is that nothing this guy says is actually funny. The blank stares of the audience also happen to be the blank stares from those watching the episode. So after this dude totally bombs on stage, he runs into Tracy Morgan vaping at the bar. Tracy Morgan vaping is the funniest thing in this episode by leaps and bounds. Every time they showed it, just the way it was shot, him vaping, it was hilarious. I laughed at it pretty hard, not gonna lie. So Tracy Morgan says some cryptic things and tells the comedian to make more jokes about personal stories and kind of lay off the jokes that he's been trying to tell. The comedian seems to think that it is his job to make people think while on stage, as if his brand of humor is so good that everyone else is just too stupid to realize how funny it actually is. This isn't expressly said in so many words, but that's what I got out of the conversation with vaping Tracy Morgan. So the next day, the comedian starts off his joke session with the same lame Second Amendment joke and gets the same blank stare reactions. Then he goes ahead and takes vaping Tracy Morgan's advice and tells a personal joke about his dog named Cat. And I'm being dead serious. His dog is actually named Cat.
Feline, canine, little cat dog, cat dog, cat dog.
Everyone starts laughing at this dog who's named Cat story. Again, it's not really all that funny. So the way that they're laughing is just ungodly, and that's also reoccurring as well. So after all this laughter, the comedian goes home, and we begin to get the signs that his dog named Cat is actually missing. You may think that I've gotten to specifics on what's happening so far, but no, all of this happens, and then Jordan Peele finally shows up to give his opening narration. It's about like 15 minutes into the episode. It's weird because Rod Serling gave his opening narrations very early on in his stories, but his stories were also 30 minutes long, whereas this new incarnation is a full hour. And that is one of the drawbacks to this specific episode. I'm not so sure it needs to be that long. It's cool because they have some space to play with the idea presented, but there are just a few times it seems to drag pretty hardcore, as if it's just too long for its own good. He gets back on stage and tells another joke, and one of his family members disappears after the story that he tells. That's when he realizes that the people and things that he jokes about on stage, they get these weird, creepy, ungodly laughs. But it also means that they disappear from existence, and him dealing with the ramifications of that is the main story of this episode. And I had flashbacks to a certain anime while watching this. If you've seen this episode and you know anime, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it because I want to ruin it, but comment below if you know what I'm talking about. There's a point where he tries to tell jokes about the president being a fascist, etc., in an attempt to get rid of him. It receives no laughs, and honestly, I was rolling my eyes at yet another Trump is a fascist joke, or Trump joke in general. If I wanted bad jokes about the president, I'd watch SNL or any of the copious amounts of late night shows who make fun of him every single day. Honestly, if I wanted a good laugh about the president, I'd just read some of the tweets. Honestly, this is where I started to see a potential issue with the series going forward. Politics are not what Twilight Zone is about. What makes Rod Serling's Twilight Zone so timeless was that they were about the human condition, and that condition hasn't changed since those stories were told. And then when you insert current political rage and identity politics into your story, it not only alienates half your audience, it also dates your episodes going forward. I like Jordan Peele, and I want his show to succeed, but these are just some of my worries so far based on this one episode, and the potential of the stories that I've seen so far in the trailers for the series. I'm really hoping that's not the direction that this Twilight Zone takes, because I do think there's a lot of potential here. In regards to this specific episode, overall, I'd say it's worth a watch. It's not the best thing ever, but it's not bad. It doesn't live up to the original series episode by any stretch of imagination, but it's better than many of the episodes from those two previous reboots that I talked about from the 80s and 2002. Like I said, I see a lot of potential in this series. If they can stay away from these politics, I honestly think moving forward, we could have a pretty decent show on our hands. At the end of the day, I'd give Twilight Zone version 4, episode The Comedian, a solid 6 out of 10. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, or don't. I'm not a beggar. I'm Geetru64, and I'll always tell you the truth.